So I kind of imagine that one of the most enjoyable things about serving in Donald Trump's Justice Department is that once you've sold your soul to enact the president's will, you didn't have to go out there and defend yourself. We already told you about how Todd Blanche blew it with Senate Republicans today. But take a look at how the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York tried to apply lipstick, remember that lipstick, to this slush fund pig.
I don't think we're going to be talking about this issue in a week because the American people are going to say, look, they leaked his tax returns. They tried to name and shame him. They tried to destroy him. OK, we resolved that.
It may be just me. I don't think that's going to age well. You let me know what you think. Given that some very unsavory MAGA allies are already lining up to submit their claims to get some of that cash, including, as expected, those criminally charged for January 6th? Yeah, I don't think so. Individuals who were sentenced for invading the Capitol, for example, who pled guilty to assaulting police officers, you know who they are, who were found guilty of seditious conspiracy, and who helped Trump push his election lies and overturn the 2020 election? I don't think it's going to go away, folks. Heck, even disgraced former Congressman George Santos wants in on the action. And some of the potential claims being talked about, well, don't even appear to fit even the extremely broad criteria in this settlement. J.D. Vance name-checked Tina Peters as someone deserving money. She's the county clerk who's in jail for her role in an election security breach. But she was convicted on state charges in Colorado, not federal charges. There's also the right-wing outlet One America News, which reportedly looking to recoup some money after settling defamation lawsuits related to false claims about the 2020 election. But those were civil lawsuits that had nothing to do with federal government. Who's going to tell them no? Donald Trump? Who's actually going to decide which people deserve the cash and who don't? Well, we just learned that one of those people might be a close ally of Ed Martin, the current U.S. pardon attorney and former defense lawyer and advocate for January 6 rioters. And we all know Trump is probably going to call the shots himself. That's the bottom line. Look, the slush fund is looking more like the scheme critics warned it would be. You know it, and I know it. But it's also facing stiff resistance. Trump and his Justice Department will not only need to fight through Congress, but also through the courts to implement. So helping us unpack all of this, and I'm so excited to have him here, is Andrew Weissmann. He's the former general counsel at the FBI, and he's the author of the new book, Liar's Kingdom, How to Stop Trump's Deceit and Save America. Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The book is right here. I love it. There it is. It's all good. Yes, there it is.
Nice to
Congrats
see you,
on
Michael.
that. It's good to have you here, man.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need some help here because the one thing about this case, unlike a lot of others, is the gnarly thing called standing. Who actually has the ability to go into a court and have the legal standing to have a judge not kick it out,
Right.
et cetera?
So this is a real problem in our law. In my view, every single taxpayer is being robbed. This is total theft. And let's just take one step back. It's not how the fund is being allocated. That's already a problem. But let's go one step back. This money belongs to taxpayers. This is not a settlement agreement. This case should never, ever have been brought.
Could you clarify what a settlement agreement is versus what this is?
Yes. So a settlement agreement is when you have two parties who are adverse to each other and they have different views and the parties get together and they say, okay, you know, you have an argument, I have an argument, and you sort of work out what the agreement should be. Donald Trump, as he himself said, is on both sides of this. Yes. He is settling with himself. It is just, this is basically just saying, let's see, I'd like to go into the Treasury, the coffers of the United States government, of taxpayer money, and I think I'll take $1 billion. No, I'll take $2 billion. No. Let's make it 1.776. That sounds good. I'll just take it. The lawsuit was a fig leaf. And you know how we know that? This lawsuit was brought after the time limit when a claim had to be made within 2 years. This was made after that. So you know what the amount of money is that he was owed if this actually was adjudicated was zero. Zero. So I don't do math in public. Zero, less than 1.776 billion.
Yeah.
So you already have a problem in just, I understand why people are concerned about how the money would be spent, but I really think it's important for people to focus on this money should never be used at all in the first place.
So to that point then, let's say all the stupid happens, right? And you know, we get to the point where Trump does this thing, November happens, Democrats take the House. Do they then have the ability to come?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the problem in this country. Even though every taxpayer now would be hurt, in my view, and should be able to complain about it because they can say, wait a second, my money is being used and I think it's theft and I want to prove it. There's no such thing in this country as taxpayer standing. They don't want to open the doors and this floodgates to everyone saying, well, I just don't like how my money is being used. And the same way, if there's election fraud or what I write about, somebody lying to you about ballots, they don't want to say every voter can complain about that. But it's a reason to vote because Congress can do something now. And as you know, they may not. But if the Democrats are in control or the Democrats or with enough people of conscience who are Republicans or independents, they can both bring a lawsuit. And then because you know who has the power of the purse? Congress. They can put an end to this. So they can just say, no way. You don't even get the money. We're going to ban that. Congress has so many levers of power.
And they're not, the thing, here's the part that I think irks so many Americans, more so now than it may have a year ago or 2 years, certainly during the Biden administration, where the only thing they seem to be fixated on was the price of eggs. Now they're fixated on more than the eggs. It's everything else that's come together. Is this overwhelming sense that the real weaponization of our government has been against the American people. When you look at the countless number of citizens who've been caught up in this, you were actually named in an executive order that Trump signed last March targeting law firm that you worked for. That sounded like weaponization of government against you.
Yes. And what do you think the chances are?
You're going to get a little piece of that something?
So what do you think the chances are that this weaponization fund is going to be paying out money to me, to Jerome Powell?
And that's where to go. That's right. So, Comey and others.
Exactly. So that, by the way, will be the subject of litigation when they do this to say, viewpoints are what we're going to consider, that we're going to say this person was weaponized and that will be a subject of litigation if this goes forward. I'd like to see this stopped nipped in the bud, because this is really creating an army of people who are told you have no criminal liability because we pardoned you and we're now going to reward you. Not only do you get out of jail, but we're going to pay you. And this is completely outside of the Justice Department. I mean, this is all sort of happening just with Donald Trump saying, I am going to decide who goes into jail, who goes out of jail, and I'm going to decide how much money they get, even though they've committed criminal acts.
So before I let you go, I got you and the book at the table. In the book, you write about the problem of politicians' ability to knowingly lie to voters, and someone who is a recovering politician.
Right.
I've always found that to be the most offensive part when I saw my fellow politicians out there doing that. But you talk about that. That's this new thing. It's not a new thing, but seems to be an enhanced thing that a lot more politicians think that they can just lie to voters and get away with it. Talk about some of the solutions you're coming up with.
So here's a really simple way to understand this. Truth in advertising. It's like we require truth in advertising when you buy a prescription. We require it when you go testify before Congress. The leaders of Enron, who I helped prosecute, if you lie about the stock price in Enron and you say it's a really healthy company and you know it's not, you can go to jail for that. You can be sued for that.
Did Trump get in trouble for, talking about how much more stuff was than it was worth? Property?
You know how he got in trouble for something that was proved to be false? Was when E. Jean Carroll sued him twice and won in defamation laws, just like Rudy Giuliani.
Yep.
Same thing. All of those are lies that people have to go to court. They have to prove it. They have to have the facts. We're not talking about opinions. We're not talking about something that's a mistake. Politicians have been completely exempted from that. And that's what I talk about, which is why there shouldn't be a system where if you can show that somebody intentionally lied, there aren't the same consequences that we impose for everyone else.
All right. The book is Liar's Kingdom, and the author is none other than Andrew Weissmann. Thank you, my friend, for being here.
Thank you, Michael.